And we're live. Oh, thought I had all my ducks in a row, but I did not. Turn the volumes down over here. How are we doing today? Can everyone hear me? Volumes down over here. Turn that one down. Oh, let's see comments. Get the chat over here. Beautiful day today in Michigan. Yeah, wouldn't you know it? And yeah, I would. Come on, there we go. Yeah, you would think it would be a beautiful day down here, but it is not. I am to start the video and get a few people in here. Chime in the chat. Tell me where you're from. You know what you do. Are you a driver? Are you a dispatcher? Are you just someone in logistics? Or are you just someone just peeking in? And that would be very, very helpful. Let's see if I can get the lighting a little better. We're working on that. Got all the lighting on. So, I'm at Dudley's, the little mom and pop truck stop, Dudley's truck stop here in Rocky Mount, Virginia, right here off the 220/581. And I've got to head out towards the Atlantic for a stop tomorrow, and then I got to head out towards Bristol, the north, and up into the lurker. Oh yes, Miss Laura's a lurker. So yeah, I got some stuff to do down in southeast corner of eastern Kentucky, and then work my way up to north central Kentucky. But route's going good this week, as you know, and let's do a little reflection since we're a month out now. I was home for 7 days at the end of January when the ice storms came and hit the eastern seaboard, and that big snowstorm came up through Louisville, across diagonally across Ohio, and up through Pennsylvania. Um, they had bad, severe ice storms down here. All my customers were pretty much shut down for business Monday and Tuesday. Uh, once that came through, Ohio had a level 3, so there's no way I could even pass through there. So it's kind of like that's my easement to get out here, either coming across Ohio through Pennsylvania and or West Virginia. So 7 days off back then. Got in the truck, ran 2 weeks straight hard, and that put me home February 14th. Came back out after that weekend, and this thing went down the third week of February. I had a broken wire somewhere in the system for the after treatment, the DEF system. That all said, I spent 6 hours at the Petro in Glad Spring, Petro truck stop there outside of Bristol there, Glad Spring, Virginia, off the 81. I think, what is that, exit 29 off the 81 there. So luckily I was there when I started the truck, and it went into D-rate. So bring me out a day cab. I'm like, yeah, I can make that work. But they brought it out as, you know, it was a city truck, and it had one fuel tank. So I spent a week not only looking for hotels every night, but also a fuel stop every single day. As you know, that gets to be a little tiresome. And then, of course, you know, I traveled in areas I did not with the day cab back in the day. Therefore, I had to research a couple hotel chains that would accommodate for semi-truck parking. That's the thing with hotels, staying at hotels. People think, well, that must be nice. Yeah, but the downfall is your upper end hotels do not accommodate for semi-truck parking. It's more of your mediocre bottom feeder hotel chains, which is your Choice Hotels and this and that. And then, of course, if I packed my cooler that plugs in, and I carried my own food. But then you got to, what's the restaurant situation like? Do you have to have it shipped in? Is it within walking distance? I lugged everything in, so I got one of those little trolleys at the front door and brought that out to the truck, loaded it up, take it in the room in the morning, like 3 in the morning. You're loading it up, running it out, loading your truck. It was such a pain in the ass. So the fourth week, which was last week, is, as you all know, I did do that live stream last week. I got to the truck stop just before the live stream, and the lift gate went quit on me in the up position and extended out. So that all said, that was, and everything's working good. I finally have had the first week out, which is yesterday and today. I made a delivery yesterday. Made several today with about 500 miles in today. What did I make? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 deliveries today with a 500-mile coverage. That's how many miles I put on. And then yesterday I ran 570 with one stop. Basically, Sundays is just buffered for my travel day. But if I am going by a customer that's open on Sunday, I try to pop them off and then keep going as far as I can. So we made that happen, and sitting good today. So yeah, it's kind of like business back, doing business as usual now, and everything's back to normal. So, and I'd like to say I'm putting the snow and cold behind me, but I got home. What a shit show the end of last week was. We do our health, everyone does their benefit renewal, usually October, November of each year. We do ours like the 1st of March. They had sent out a link. We already, they sent a link out at the first of the year. We got registered for it, and then they said the benefits will kick in, and then just register with that link, the account you created, and go in there. So they want to have everything done and turned in Monday morning this morning. So Thursday night, I had get the computer, log in, get the wife on the phone, and we just kind of walk through everything. Health, dental, vision, short-term disability, life, insurance, and accidental and death. I think that was pretty much it, wasn't it, Laura? And then we just got through everything. But we had to go through each plan in the health insurance. Now, the thing of it is I had the more top-tier health insurance this last year, but I backed it down, and I went back to the company paid. So our company does pay for the health insurance. Yes, it's an HMO. And because I do a more naturopathic, holistic living style as far as eating and all that, I really don't go see a family doctor, Western medicine practice type. So because all they're going to do is throw pills at you, and I'm not a proponent nor a sponsor of the pharmaceuticals of the United States. So, moving from that, then they contacted me Thursday along with get your health benefits done. I did not mark down on my Google Calendar that my my DLT med card was coming up due March 8th. So they said, hey, that's coming up. And I'm like, oh. So I pulled it out and looked, and I said, yeah, you're right. So I gotten back, I think, what was it, 11 o'clock, between 11 and noon on Friday. And I called them and said, hey, Thursday, I said, hey, I'm done with my route. Get the paperwork, schedule me. I'll be in between 12 and 1 to go over there. And I did. I was there for 3 hours. waiting in line. I mean, that place was just jam packed, and passed it. Surprising. Not so much blood pressure, but I got an eye appointment this Saturday. I have old glasses because my newest ones I broke in the floor. They fell on the floor during the night, and I got up, stepped on them. So I got to get new prescriptions and then get new glasses ordered. But they passed me on that. Um, Now, as we're going into these conversations, I I left yesterday morning, and Saturday night at 8:30, there south of Lima, Ohio, on northbound I-75, it was a Haitian, and they had plowed in the back of a bunch of vehicles, killed a father and son. Now, the scale house on US 30, if you go from Fort Wayne to Lima to I-75, there's the eastbound only scale house. And the Waymaster's in there Monday through Friday, but the DOT didn't want to stand outside that day because it was cold and whatever the reason was, but 2 DOT cars were in there. They had it open. When I came through, like, when did I come through? About 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning, something like that. So they pulled me around back due to the fact that Blue Beacon had blown off my IFTA sticker over on the passenger side. I had the driver's side one, and I had my paperwork. Told them that I have a new IFTA coming, and they could check with Ryder if they wanted to, but it wouldn't be till Monday. But he just ran my license. He saw that I was pretty confident, and I stepped down out of the truck, and I went to hand him my tablet, like, hey, I just started a new set of hours. I've only been on the road for, like, I think I logged in for the last 3 hours. Here's all the paperwork, this and that. And he was like, no, you're just too confident on this, you're too willing to give it. Normally those guys have to take a crowbar and pry the information out of a lot of drivers, especially the foreign drivers that can't speak English. So he ran my license. I was there in and out of that scale house in 11 minutes. And I had asked him before I pulled away, I said, have you guys been enforcing the ELP? And he said, yes. At least in his division there around the Van Wert area. I don't know where they're stationed out of. But he said they're aggressive with it. If they even sound like they're Ukrainian or Haitian or any of those countries, basically, even if they're, I want to say trying to spit out 10, 20% English, they're shutting them down. They're giving them the violation. They're putting them out of service. I did ask him the I-75 accident. I said, that happened last night. I said, what's going on with that? And he said the driver claimed, the investigator officer came out of his division to go over there, but he said the driver stated that he didn't have any brakes. But if you look at Ike there at Bonehead Truckers, he went through that guy. It's an owner operator. It's not a company. It's his company, the driver, and it's his company, his truck, his trailer. But he'd been put out of service more than 2 handfuls of times for brake violations alone. And that all said, if a good lawyer gets into there, they should be, because it's manslaughter, vehicular manslaughter. He's, this guy should be in prison. Let alone this guy should have not been ever put back in service with all those violations. But my thing of it is the justice system in this country is just a total shit show, because a guy like me is going to get put out of service. I'll get hung at the noose, you know, in the town square for the shit that these foreigners get away with, for accidents, wrecks, and manslaughter, you know. And he said he couldn't really reveal much more, but the key point he said was they are pulling trucks in from pulling trucks in basically from when they see Florida. He goes, take this with a grain of salt, kind of hint, hint, wink, wink, is when they see Florida, Minnesota, or California plates, they're inspecting them. And he goes, that is the highest concentration of, you know, the problems we're having out here on the roads. Not, you know, the highest concentration, not the number ones, but that's what they're finding. So that was yesterday. Back to last Friday, I got my DOT physical, and I was in there. I waited. The backup in there was just ridiculous. A lot of foreigners in there, because as soon as they, you know, get called upon or asking questions at the window, I mean, you could tell. So, call it for what it is. But the thing of it is with our company here at these guys, you know, you take the company pickup, you stay on the clock, you go down, you get your DOT physical, and it's the same way for random drug screens. They pay for all that because, like I said, here we're paid by the hour. While I'm out here, every logged hour is paid by the hour, and overtime after 40. But I finally got back there. The nurse checked my blood pressure on both arms. It was decent for just coming out of the truck, and, you know, a long week, a 5.5 day week on the road. The doctor came in. He actually, there was no, you know, turn your head and cough scenarios, but he was just checking shoulder and legs, you know, having me, can you touch your toes? That was it. Check my spine, you know, any accidents, any injuries, anything like that. You know, no, and no. And I said, I said, you must be getting really bombarded with the FMCSA with the new regulations that went in. Now these guys got to upload my physical. You know, they have to do it, and it's got to be sent up and uploaded and all that jazz. And instead of me and my wife doing it, you know, through the DMV or the Secretary of State, whatever, you know, your state calls it. So they have to put it up in the system, and he looked pretty bummed out. He looked pretty he's done with it. And you could tell this doctor was pretty much at the end of his career. Like, he wanted out. And he said, I don't get it. I got to jump through all these hoops to be certified. Tens of thousands of dollars I got to have to keep these certifications. Not only does he have to do continuing education classes, you know, credits to keep being a doctor, and his malpractice insurance and all this other overhead to stay practicing as a doctor, he's also got to keep up and be certified and up to on all the regulations, FMCSA, and all the changing and renewal of, you know, policies and procedures and all that. He's got to stay on top of that any more than any of us out here in the trucking world. And he goes, why is it I'll get these guys, they can't really pass the physical. No, that wasn't that way. He said, why is it they can't get their license and they get shut down because they can't pass the ELP, but yet they come in here and there's no requirements for them to have an English language proficiency, but yet if they pass their DOT med card, and then they can't get their license. You know, if they're non-domicile and what have you, and if their license are not being upload, or I want to say they can't get it to because of their status. You know, being a non-domicile, English language proficiency barrier, anything that would prevent the government to issue that license. So they just went through all these formalities. I could care less about them. It's the fact I'm looking at this doctor. He looks whipped and burned out. And I'm like, that is the biggest waste of resources, let alone your time and effort to tie up this waiting room out here for a guy like me that's going to, you know, that's out here working and passing. And yet you're having to still funnel these guys through. And he goes, exactly. And he said he's like to the end of his rope, wants to retire. I told him, I said, I'm you know, in the stages of moving to Arizona. And he goes, I've been dreaming of just moving to Tucson. He's got Tucson on the horizon in his eyes. But it sounds like this is not his first marriage, but his current wife, she's now retired, but they had, I want to say, a ranch or horses, but she's found it to be exhausting and taxing. As you know, we're all getting older. He seems like he was probably mid 60s, late 60s, but she has let the horses and that go. She wants to move to Charlotte, North Carolina, and he's fighting with the fact he wants to go to Tucson. And so I was just telling him where we're going and where we're looking at houses. I was looking at real estate before the live stream, Laura. So actually got it up here on one of my tabs. So yeah, the thing of it is he just looked fatigued. But when he left the room, his head was down, and he goes, man, you could tell he envied the fact that I'm going to Arizona, and he may end up just being stuck going to Charlotte, North Carolina, and he doesn't want to go there. And I wouldn't. It's more of a liberal, woke town anymore than Chicago and LA and New York and all that other hobbabaloo. But, you know, I feel for the healthcare workers, all the staff in there, the nurses and the office staff that are, you know, processing the paperwork in and out and all that. And these idiots are coming in. I don't know. I think that would be another way of cutting another head off the snake is, look, you got to pass an ELP. If you're not passing ELP without a translator, don't even bother to go down and get your med card. Just don't. And I just really hope and pray, but to me, the government's going to do what it's going to do. In the end, the corporations and the elitists that run this country are basically, they want slave labor. So they don't want a guy like me out there because I'm too keen on to what's going on in the country. I know my value. And a lot of these guys are just coming in and they're working for pennies on the dollar just to, send it all back home. That's why these guys are on a non-domicile. Is basically their homeland back home. They're just taking their paychecks and sending them back to their homeland. They're not even possessing or owning any property here. They're living out of, that's why a lot of them are migrated into trucking, because it's a rolling RV. They can live in the trucks and make their money and send it back home. And to me, it's like, you just get rid of it. Every channel on here has been saying, get rid of non-domicile. Just don't let it exist. Just do away with it. You have to show you're a U.S. citizen, and that's the only way you're going to get a CDL. And then, narrow down these CDL mills. But, I'm just throwing out my perspective. I've never went to trucking school. And I'll be glad when there's a day I'm not in trucking. Years down the road, I'm going to look back and say it's going to be, if we're calling this a shit show right now, what are we going to call it in 3 to 5 years? So it's probably not going to be anything of value to say, unless American people stand up and start pushing back. I really think we just need to stand up and push back to this government. I'm not a conservative, nor am I a liberal. I'm just done with the government and its overreach, and it's positioning itself with these data centers. These data centers are going to create two things. A way to have their digital money to push on us, and AI for surveillance. The AI is going to be a surveillance tool. They're like, oh, AI for jobs, AI for this. The AI is going to be surveillance to wrangle us up, put us in 15-minute cities, and go off a credit. What did they say? A social score, not a credit score. But that way, you're going to see more cameras that AI is going to be linked to, put up in residential neighborhoods, cities, businesses, because AI is going to monitor you for facial recognition and that. And Tucker Carlson was just talking about this the last couple of days on his channel, and they broke it down that these data centers are just going to be an AI hub and a digital currency hub. And that way, if you venture more like a mile from your house and you don't have a good social score, they can just turn your money off. So even if you have an old car that doesn't have a kill switch that they can turn off on you, you get to the store to put gas in your car or buy groceries, your money's turned off. That's where the government's going with it. And that's where that's going to have to be the breaking point, when at some point we're just going to have to march up to DC and throw these bastards right out of the building and take it over. But that's my forecast of just looking into the future. Whether or not anybody grows any cojones to stand up to this is left to be seen yet. But yeah, that, and like I said, that doctor was he's done with it any more than I am. I told him, I said, 3 things that bothered me in trucking is the IT in these trucks, everything from the GPS, the ELDs, the computers within the trucks for the after treatment, the DEF systems, all that. It's unreliable. It's junk and garbage. I am at 498,500 miles right now, almost 500,000 miles. And I put 550,000 miles on that heavy haul truck, and I think by then we had to put bushings in the rear suspension, a front axle alignment, and we did an in-frame. But that's a truck that was hauling anything from 150 to 200,000 pound loads for its life up to that point. And this is just a plastic Tupperware turd hauling general freight. And I've had so much downtime with this, from the IT stuff, a couple of mechanical things, but most of it is IT. Second thing is the foreigners on the road. I'm totally opposed to it, and instead of fighting it, I'll just I'm getting an exit strategy built up, and one day I'm going to be sitting back saying, "Have at her, Haas. You guys go out and bumper bash and run into each other, and then maybe a politician or one of these billionaires or someone of status gets their family ran over by these people. Then, all of a sudden, then the laws will change, things will happen. But until it affects them, we have to sacrifice us and our families out on these roads right now. And the third thing is just the government laws, policies, and regulations are just smothering everything, where they just want to micromanage and control us. Again, the surveillance, the control. That's the government. That's where the government's going. And I figured, you know what? I'll get myself positioned to be in an area, in a place I can grow old in, and I won't have to jump through the hoops that you probably will, say 5, 10 years from now, to make a move across the country, or relocate yourself, you know, any more than what people went through back in the day when Germany was ruling the European countries, passports and all this other jazz. Um, yeah, it's one of those things. And who knows? I may fall back on my mechanic's license. To turn wrenches, I don't know. I know one of the counties I applied for, they're interested in me, but I'm not in a position to move. I had to decline the job interview. But with March here, we're going to get through taxes, because I want to see where taxes are at. But we're going to start positioning here by the end of the month. We're going to be making some changes around the house and getting ready to get it prepped, ready, and all that jazz. So a lot of hustling coming up as the weather warms up and breaks free from old man winter. But just watching the trucks in the rain. It is raining right now. It's been raining all day. I want to say I probably got through the first 2 hours of my day, and then after that, it's just been a steady rain. Nothing heavy, but just enough where I was running the wipers a good portion of the day. Remind me to update. I talked to Sandy today. Yeah, to update. I don't know what you mean by update. What? Um. So yeah. Um. Instead of just fighting and dealing with this crap, I've got 13 ways to Sunday to skin a cat, experience wise. And so I'm just going to pull one of the other ones out of my butt and go fall on that. The other thing I thought about too is my wife and I, I've always followed a more holistic health walk, especially when I did supercross racing. But I have considered, with my degree, probably getting my certification back through the American College of Sports Medicine as a because I can get my clinical exercise certification through the ACSM. It's back then, 15 years ago, it had like a 57% failure rate taking the test. It's hard because there's also a lot of calculations in there with calories and other jazz. As a clinical exercise specialist, is what it is. What is it? CES, yeah, clinical exercise specialist. And you have to be able to do some mathematics on. They'll give you scenarios with caloric intake, outtake. You got to do the mathematics on that during the test, and other scenarios and all that. And of course, flexibility, joint stuff, physiological stuff. So it covers a lot. And I'll probably be dusting off my my thinking cap on that to maybe chase after that once I'm out of the truck and down the road and got the other stuff going on. That'd be something I'm going to probably chase. I mean, I've got everything else I've went after. I still carry my mechanic's license. I never went and finished welding to get my certification in that because I got talked out of it. But I have my master mechanics license. I've got my certification through System X in my detailing side. What else did I get? Oh, I was a licensed massage therapist because the best chiropractors when I was going to chiropractic school were former massage therapists. So I'd done that because we had done a business with that and my clinical exercise specialist. I was able to use those two to basically um, start our sports rehab business and functional movement test through. It was at Dr. Gray. There's a setup tools you can buy to do these. Check the body for asymmetry, and find out where they need to have uh, more strength on what quadrant of the body and more stretching and get more flexibility in. Um, there was a lot of that stuff we did in our sports rehab. Problem is with that, unless you have a doctor in front of your name, everything's a cash base. You can't bill insurances because it's got to be billed through a doctor entity. So to get people to pay cash for that kind of services, and that's usually about anywhere from $60 to $100 an hour. It's like freaking trying to pull teeth out of. It's trying to pull teeth. It was a pain in the ass chasing people after payments. So, um, but the reason why I would probably chase that down and get that certification is, I think my wife and I think this channel will have a lot more talking points on uh, understanding healthy eating, reading ingredients, what these chemicals are and do to your body, and healthy cooking and how to prep food and all that. So I think that's going to be a good talking point in the future. Besides, I got my stock trades, I got my real estate side. That stuff I can also. So there could be times when I could be on the, fire up, do videos multiple times a day on different subjects. But I think it's beneficial for people to be well versed into knowing a lot of things that affect their lives, um, whether it's economics, banking and finance, and or investing, but your physical and mental health, and having you need to be your own health advocate, and not just like whatever the doctor says I just do is not the answer and the attitude you should be going forward with. You should be questioning the doctor, and I'll tell you how many times that's what gets me kicked out of offices is because I question them to the point that they don't want to be questioned, especially these old doctors. They just like, I said so, and that's because I said no. That's masking a problem, but not finding an end to. That's not bringing an end, a solution. You're not presenting a solution to bring an end to it. Whatever the root cause is. Let's just get a solution so we can nip this, and I don't have to come back, and I don't need to be on prescriptions. And which I've never have. I'm not on any prescriptions, but just to hear them and me go back and forth. I had the one guy just slam his chart book and got up and just, we're done here, and you can just get out of my office. And, question your doctor. And if not, find out, what they're putting you on and why, and get it documented and go back and research it yourself. All the information is out there to research. Anything a doctor suggests or prescribes to you, before you go down that road of getting on pills, whether it's blood pressure pills, diabetic pills, cholesterol pills, those pills were always intended to be short-term temporary fix. And if they're not giving you like, yeah, maybe let's give this 3 months, 6 months, or a year, see if you can get some exercise and change your diet to lower your cholesterol, get your blood pressure in check, get your diet, your A1C and your insulin and your sugar levels in check. But Western medicine doctors are so ignorant that most of them are never taught nutrition during their schooling. And a lot of nutrition I've learned more on my own, even outside of class. I've had a few nutrition classes, but a lot of it just left me hungry to go understand further than what the system was presenting to me. And my wife's even gone more under the microscope with this new functional medicine doctor that is taking it to a level I've not seen, but it's been out there. But to get into that system, yeah, every when you got to eat healthy and go in a healthy direction, you are going to pay out of your pocket. And that's what we did. We basically spent the money for a car to get on board with this doctor. But that money spent, most people would have said, I'm not, people will bitch about paying money for their health, a doctor visit or healthy food or taking up something, but they'll piss and moan about spending money on that, but have no problem putting money into a fishing boat or money into their vehicle. And yet, to me, I could give two shits what people think of where I live, how I live. All I care about is that I can reach in and pay cash for what I want to do in life. Therefore, if I spend the price of a car on a doctor to steer me in a healthy direction, I just invested in myself, in her, to be better educated and recognizing being healthy in, with the food and what the chemicals, the offset of what the chemicals will do to you over the long term. And then the healthy prepping, prepping food and how to prep it so you retain the integrity of the food, the calories, the nutrition base in it. So that way your body's getting that absorption rate of, the vitamins and minerals that you do need. And that way you're not like eating this processed food that we get that has, it may be more calorie dense of this garbage fillers, but yet you're getting no nutritional value out of it. And then people offset it with supplements and vitamins and all that, which isn't any better for you than eating, a Little Debbie or a box of Fruit Loops. So, like this here. This is the company. We go to the health store. Actually, 3 miles from our house is called Harvest Health in Hudsonville, Michigan. We went down there. This is if you guys can see that. That's the name of the company. Are you? Lost my leg. Look at me go. Come on, you. It's the other leg. There we go. So that's the name of the company. But get this. That's the ingredients. Potatoes, avocado oil, and sea salt. 3 ingredients. That's it. That's all. That's what I'm trying to get across is potato chips shouldn't have 10 or 15 ingredients in it. It's freaking potatoes, some salt. And that's it. So it's really, my wife's been teaching me this and through her classes, through this doctor and his staff. And we've already seen a change with her you've been what, 2-3 months into this, Laura, and you can tell she's now putting form-fitting clothes back on, and you can tell she's gone down. And I said, you're losing inches if you lost weight. She goes, weight not as much as, she goes, it's not really inches, it's the fact that my body had been in a swollen state from 18 surgeries and having all this inflammatories going on in her body and the high cortisone levels that her body's just been inflamed for over a decade. So the inflammation is coming down, which is shrinking her body down. It's making her look like she's losing inches. And that's a big thing. When you're eating processed foods, it's triggering inflammation markers in your body, especially when you get older, it's going to be more predominant. And that's just something that, eating out here on the road, fast food is, I don't care what fast food at any one of these national chain truck stops, there's nothing healthy on their menu, period. And that's the chemicals within their food. The biggest thing is gut health, and that's the key thing with my wife is just getting the, you got to have a good functioning gut. And you wonder why everyone's just having digestive problems, heartburn, and then they're on medications, Prilosec, Nexium, and all these other heartburn medications, or pop and tums, or whatever it may be. It's, you're eating food that is more laced in chemicals and fillers and processed, and they do this because they get a longer shelf life. The food companies are just they're looking for their profit margins. They need to make profit. So healthy food, yeah, does it last long? No, you've got a shorter expiration date on it than you do with processed food. So you don't buy in abundance, you buy as you need, what you need for, a few days or a week, and that's it. But that's one thing we've had to reprogram ourselves on, is all that jazz. 67 days she's been on it. She's in the chat if you want to reach out to Laura and on this doctor. It's just amazing what the direction we're going. I've lost, my pants are falling off, where I just went and bought new jeans last Friday, and I'm fitting in them, but they're looser than they were, I want to say 6-9 months ago. I'm definitely off the energy drinks. I've been off those 4 or 5 months or more, 6 months. I have 1 cup of coffee a day. I'm drinking more water, flavored coconut water from the health store. Everything else, my entrees, my meals out here are either meal prep from home, then I just set up and eat here in the truck. The key thing is too is watch how, and I was watching a video on that today, is to watch how you microwave your food. Usually, to me, what I was getting out of it, a rule of thumb is some foods you can microwave, some just, you're better off. I want to say 90% of the video was you're better off with your meats and all that, just putting them in a oven or air fryer, especially your chicken. Heating chicken up in a microwave creates bacteria in cold spots because it doesn't get all the way through. They were explaining that, and the thing with chicken is salmonella, and getting sick from that. So, and of course, if you're buying from a deli, or say a grocery store in their deli, they may have pre-cooked chicken or breaded, deep fried, chicken that you can warm up. They say that's better to put it in an air fryer or conventional oven, and get it, back to a crisp, and it'll keep its integrity without making it to a point where it's actually more harmful for your body. The microwave, all it does, it doesn't even cook the meat. All it does is heats up the water molecules in the meat. So I basically only heat something up once. Like, I got beef tips with me this week, and I just heat them up once, and that's it. And otherwise, just eat them cold. But it's just, you got to know how to not only know how to buy the food, store the food, prep and cook the food, but also as leftovers too. So there's so much in there, but we're never taught none of that stuff in school, any more than we're never taught about money and finance and banking and investing and all that. That's stuff that everyone has had to go out, either had a mentor growing up teaching you that, or you've had to learn it, like myself, on our own. and it's frustrating. But our government likes to keep us fat, bloated, and sick, fatigued, and slow, and dumbed down, so they can control us. It's what it is. And then, oh, you need help? Um, they want you to buy into their system. What's their system? Their healthcare system. But if you're going to get in their healthcare system, buy their health insurance. Um, and then their healthcare system is going to get you on their pharmaceutical companies. And who does the pharmaceutical companies own? They own, they fund, and they back the FDA. And it's you know, their banking system. It's just everything of the government. They set it up so you're reliant on their system. And to me, it's like, that's why I kept preaching for many videos through this first half of this year, or the first quarter of this year, was be in your own ecosystem, your own economy, and be reliant on yourself. Create your own banking, and there's ways of doing it. And be debt free. Get out of debt. Don't have bank notes. And nobody needs to own $100,000 truck or a $60,000 car. That's ridiculous. An older car is just fine. I can't preach a lot of stuff enough, but there's got to be sacrifices, and there's just got to be, you got to lower your standards of living. Because of this country, our standards are way too high of expectational, that to stay up there at that level, people take banknotes out for everything. I got to mortgage my house, and then I got to go down and store credit and get furniture, and then I got to finance my car, and oh shit, I got to mow my lawn, so let me go down and finance my zero-turn mower, and now you're boom, 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 boom. You got banknotes going out everywhere, and it's not, that's the American way. No, it's the bullshit way of living. And, lower your standards. Do you need the new truck? Can you buy a used mower? Secondhand furniture. I can tell you, I furnished our house. Basically, was furnished on about the whole house: kitchen table and chairs, living room set, bedroom set. I think $1,500 or less, and we paid cash. So look for deals, look for sales. Don't be afraid to buy secondhand stuff, whether it's marketplace, garage sales, Goodwill, whatever. I'm not afraid to walk into Goodwill, look around. I mean, we used to peruse through Goodwill just to see they're changing inventory all the time, see if something if there's something we needed, we go in there and look. Or if something like, hey, let's go there and look, because I'm not going to pay this amount. Because I can tell you, going out and buying new furniture does not hold its value. When you go down to a furniture store, they're getting top shelf price for that stuff, and their margins are horrible in furniture. This company worked with furniture for a while, but they when they dumped it, I got the last of it. My living room set through my company back then. But I can tell you that people, when they go out and they finance furniture for their house, it's just like buying a car. It's damn well, you just lost a shit ton of money by the time you got it home off the truck and in your living room, bedroom, kitchen. It's not worth a hill of beans. Furniture has no good resale whatsoever. And no one's going to pay for it, because someone's going to be out there in a desperate need to move. My son did this, and he dumped a lot of furniture just to move from Michigan to California. It's like he was either giving it away or selling it at a low price. And we did the same thing when we moved across the state of Michigan. I mean, just, what do you got in your pocket? Take it, And that's, like I said, don't ever go out and buy new furniture. It's a waste of time. Take care of your things and make them last. And that's all we've done. We got 24 years out of a Honda Accord, from new to the time we sold it, 300,000 miles. I got 13 years and 155,000 miles on that red Fusion of mine. I mean, all our vehicles are bought used, but we look for deals. And like I said, we drove to Indianapolis from Michigan, 5.5 hour drive to go pick our car up, the Fusion, and we flew to Austin, Texas to get the Highlander. But I can tell you, I got a smoking deal on all of them, and even the Ram. And it's sad that I paid $13,000 for what was it, 20,000 mile 4-wheel drive Ram. And back in the day, I bought it in 2014, and it was 4 years old with 20,000 miles on it. So, yeah, it's you got to know you got to have dry powder, so that way when a smoking deal comes up and you have a need for that deal, you just don't go and buy things because it's a good deal, or buy things because I want it. It's a need more than a want, as you know. But yeah, and it's like the health benefits last week. I said I paid top tier, and I said I don't even see a doctor, and I looked at it and I said the yearly deductible, what was it, Laura? The annual deductible from the low tier to the top tier was $1,000 difference, and I said I think I can shit out an extra $1,000. So I said the hell with it. I can make up for that for the difference I pay for the top tier out of my pocket to the company sponsored and paid insurance at the low tier. So I just took the company paid, and the only thing I'm paying out, I think, what are we paying all together? I think $15 a pay period for dental, vision, and they cover my short-term disability. That's a new thing now this year. Is people with 5 years of seniority or more, they pay their short-term disability. So I was just paying for vision and dental. That's it. So anyhow, folks, I appreciate y'all being here. Hey, anybody in the chat want to chime in and just tell us where you're from, and are you a truck driver or not? I think what I want to do in the future is, I know a lot of channels out there make bank on talking politics, and you can go on the side of Trump hating, Trump bashing. You can go on the side of the conservative and talk about everything the liberals are doing wrong, and it gets clicks, views, and grows your channel, and blah blah blah, and you get monetized and all that. But the thing of it is I can't talk about politics because I can't get behind either one. I can't get behind either party. Any more than with my college degree in healthcare, I could have went into pharmaceutical sales. I've got the knack for it. I can't get behind a product I don't support, don't believe in. And I would rather turn down a $150,000 a year job, because I'm not, to be honest, my attitude would be, well, fucking take it or leave it. I don't care. I'm not going to sit there and beat this into a doctor or an office or a hospital to buy, medications or the latest, greatest whiz bang woo-ha thing out of a pharmaceutical company. So no, I just can't get behind stuff like that. But I can't get behind politics. But I was thinking with this channel, talking about and getting behind more, and maybe interviewing more people on a blue collar level, more everyday people that actually get up, work, live within the lay of this land, from coast to coast, people that know this country, not the people that are up here in a make-believe world, getting on their private jets, in their supercars, living in $1 million a month, penthouse payment. We don't need to talk to those people. There's no need to be around those people. I think most of us can pretty much say, you know what, Tommy there, Trucking Unfiltered, had said that. He said, you'll see people, they migrate to their tribes. People that are like-minded within themselves. Like my wife and I have noticed that when we've gone to campgrounds, if they are like-minded like us, or if they're a little more uppity and snooty, a little more uptight, or are they really a little bit too wild. I mean, we stayed at that at one seasonal campground where, man, everyone was drugs and dope up the wazoo. Uh, one girl was leaving one trailer, sneaking around ours to go over to this other trailer and sleep with this guy while her husband was sleeping. I mean, that's not us. But where we came from, where we had our second property, we clicked with those folks. Even the resort we're looking at in Arizona, we knew that one's more of our type of people. We can click with them. We can, you know, the other resort besides that one, there was another one suggested to us, but they're a little more uppity up. And I said, yeah, I probably wouldn't even make the first year, and they're going to be giving me a fine or rate me up or some shit. And I said we should stick with what it doesn't irritate me. So, you're going to find that out, that you're going to migrate to people that are like-minded like you. And that's what I think this channel should be, is people talking with, interviewing, and just getting on board with more people that are out here making life work. Your plumbers, electricians, your building trades, your welders, your mechanics, or I don't know if they call it mechanics now, or technicians, your truck drivers, your general laborers, whether they're outside working in construction, or equipment operators, or if they're working in warehouses. But those are the kind of people we need to talk about. These are the people we need to have discussions in the chat with, and to talk to millionaires and billionaires means nothing to me. I mean, I just want to be comfortable in life. I don't need to have an exorbitant amount of abundance of money, but I sure would like to have enough that I wouldn't ever, all I'd have to do is get up, maybe do some stock trades, some shit on the computer for about an hour, and then, kick back and do whatever the hell I want for the rest of the day. But I don't need to have Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, or any of these guys' money to where, then you just become goofy stupid. I don't know. I think there's enough of us in this country that makes this country function. And I think if we all went on strike, these elitists probably find out, oh shit. And we've already seen what the foreigners can do here. Nothing. Because they can't read English. So they don't have a damn clue. So, but yeah, I'd like to just find topics. So the email for this channel is down in the description. If you see an article of some type that would fit what I'm explaining here, and then if there's someone we can reach out, then hey, interview in that, in the trades, or people that are just out there, even the waitresses, the cooks, the cleaning people. I mean, hey, everything's an open game out here, but these are people just trying to do an honest living, make, and support, take care of their families. Not everybody's out to burn and rule the world and burn it down, as like our government's been doing. And it doesn't matter what side, they've all been just, their hands have got blood on it. But put something, email me something and say, hey, take a look at this. I would love to talk about different subjects. And, if they're in a news article or someone that can be interviewed, it would be great to take something more on our level than something more of a level that is just going to be a trigger. Politics is the biggest trigger for many people, and how things have gotten handled in this country. And the reason why I'm going in this direction with these subjects is our government doesn't care about us. They will shit on us. We've seen that with Lahaina and the Hawaii, North Carolina incident, with that flash flood. We've seen that with the fires over there in Palisades in California. They're not going to come and help us, but they'll go and do all these other countries. So, like I said, that's the reason why I'm saying is, let's just all get in our tribe. We're in our tribe here then. The government's not out to take care of us. So let's bring some people into light. If you find, like I said, a news article or know someone, let's shine a light on it. And let's talk to these people, because we make this country up, not the elites, not the politicians. So I'm going to end it there. I want to get something to eat. I'm going to get some time with the wife on the phone. I appreciate y'all being here. Also, you can email us too if you got questions about that doctor that my wife sees, that does the functional medicine, that really goes in a complete holistic way of the way we should be eating and prepping and all that stuff. We can get that out to you too. So anyhow, folks, stay safe, continue educating yourself. Knowledge is learned, not taught, and we will see you all here in the next video.